5 things I learned as a junior developer. I started my first coding job about 5 years ago at a company that develops a whole range of things like video games, websites, mobile apps, anything the customers were paying for, they would develop it. I'm making this video for people who may not have started their first job yet, or they may have recently started their coding career, just to clear up some things that I was completely clueless about when I first got into the industry. So here we go. Number one, have patience with yourself. This is probably one of the most important things because things will take longer to complete than you expect. It's bound to happen. There's going to be delays, um, and people aren't expecting you to be this superhero coder when you're a junior, and you shouldn't expect that of yourself either. Even experienced developers can struggle sometimes, so it's totally normal for juniors to struggle, and everyone knows that. So be kind to yourself, and you will find that you enjoy the job a lot more. Number two, this may seem like a no-brainer, but try to learn as much as you can from your fellow developers. So we used to work with the Unity development platform, and I thought I'd gotten pretty good at using it at one point. But then I saw my team lead using the software, and I was basically astounded to see how good he was with it. He was making use of all the tools and like the keyboard shortcuts, debugging methods, all this stuff that I had no idea existed, and he was just moving through his work like at an insane pace. And yeah, I learned as much as I could from him because I wanted to be as proficient as he was. Tracking down bugs was just effortless for him. And when I saw that, I thought, yep, I've got to learn as much as I can. So there is a lot of value in learning from your coworkers, even if you think you're good enough already. Number three, another very important one. If you make a mistake or you need help, let someone know. There's always help available. For example, once I was working on a project and I had estimated that it would take about a week to finish. Anyway, at the end of the week comes around and I'm nowhere close to finishing it, and I'm sitting there panicking, thinking, well, this is it. My career, it's over before it even started. They're going to see how bad I am. They're going to fire me. All those good thoughts that run through your head. But to my surprise, the team lead he was really understanding and basically told me that it's 100% okay if something's taking longer than expected, but if that does happen, he just needs to know about it earlier before things get out of hand. So the takeaway is communicate with your team, communicate with your seniors, keep them in the loop, regardless of whether you're ahead of schedule, you're running late, you're making mistakes, whatever. It just helps them a lot to know what's going on. And that story actually leads me into the next thing I learned, which is under promise, over deliver. And this applies to many industries, and I'm sure you've heard it before, but I'll say it anyway because it's another important one. Especially when you're starting, give yourself plenty of time to complete tasks. What this will do is two things. It'll take pressure off yourself and let you perform better, and it'll also give you time to get better at estimating the time it takes to complete tasks without missing deadlines and learning the hard way. The fifth thing I learned as a junior was you will need to get good at reading and updating other people's code. So you generally will not be creating projects from scratch as a junior. 99% of the time you'll be thrown in the deep end, and you'll have to modify an existing code base. When I first started, this completely threw me for a loop. It makes sense logically. I mean, yeah, of course that's what juniors should be doing because no one trusts them to build the foundational structure for a huge project or anything. But just keep in mind that this is what your job will be: modifying existing code bases and trying not to break anything. But yeah, so on my first day, a senior developer, he sat me down and he said, "All right, I want you to go and find this function that controls whether these objects collide together or whether they pass through each other in this video game. And I was given this massive code base with thousands of files, and I had to track down this very specific function. And I can't remember. It might have taken me a couple hours or an hour or two. But yeah, hopefully you guys will have a better onboarding process than that. But you know, it's just something to be aware of. That's what your job is going to be. And if I could have my time over again, I would probably, before I started my first job, I would look at some large open source projects, try to sift through the code base, you know, get a better idea of how the parts fit together. Just give yourself some experience with that mindset and that skill set of modifying other people's code bases. So yeah, that's it. If this video was helpful to you, let me know in the comments. Thanks, guys.